I hope that you're doing great. I am so happy to be back today with a new video talking all about my new piercing. So last December I went to London with a couple of friends and I got a new piercing at Maria Tash at Liberty, and I just wanted to wait a few weeks to share my experience with you. I'm going to talk about the pain, the jewelry that I got and the healing process, so you'll know everything. And I actually asked you guys on Instagram to send me all the questions that you had about piercings in general or this new piercing, so that I could have a few ideas for this video. So I'll make sure to cover everything that you guys have sent my way. So last December I went to London and I knew that I wanted to get my piercing. The thing is that if you've been following me on Instagram, my trip was cancelled because there was a strike going on in France, so my Eurostar was cancelled, but I finally managed to go. So I booked my piercing very last minute, although I knew that I wanted to get it. So I got my Daith pierced. So the Daith is this part of the ear right here. You have great explanation on Google Images. If you just Google piercings, you have like little drawings of ears and all the places that you can get pierced with the name. So I decided to get my Daith pierced on the left side. If you've been watching my video, you might remember that I got my first piercing in 2018 in New York, also on Maria Tash. I did get my conch pierced in April 2018, and that piercing experience was so positive on so many levels that it really opened up the box of piercings for me, and I'm obsessed with piercings right now, and I definitely want to have some new ones in the future, but I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But since my experience with my first piercing at Maria Tash was so good, I loved everything. Actually, I'll link the video in the info thing up here. You can see that I actually didn't feel it going in. I didn't feel the needle, I wasn't in pain at all, and I was really stressed just because it was the first one. And the girl just before me had a low piercing and she was crying and screaming, and that seemed like an awful experience for her. So I was like, okay, what am I doing? So I knew that if I ever got more piercing, I would go to Maria Tash. I just love the jewelry. I think they work really well. They are really professional, and I just love Maria Tash in general. So I decided to go to the one at Liberty, and Charlie pierced me, and she was amazing. She had crazy beautiful piercing. She had like the dermal ones that you can get on your skin, and I talked with her just a lot because I had so many questions about her piercing and her experience piercing people. We actually talked about the fact that some people claim that this piercing, the Daith piercing, can cure headaches and migraines. She told me that there's no hard scientific evidence behind that, and that they would never pierce someone that would get this piercing just to cure headaches or migraines or things like that. So that's just something to keep in mind, because I've seen that online whenever I was doing research about Daith piercing. I saw so many websites with claims to do with your health. So it's up to you whether you want to believe it or not, but they won't pierce you just for that reason. So anyway, I decided to get my Daith pierced. I chose the jewelry piece. I had saved so many pictures online, so I knew what I wanted. I decided to get it in rose gold with rhinestones. To be fully honest, if I could have this jewelry, this piercing with rose gold, I would have. But when I went to New York, they only had the super big 5 flowers one with rose gold, so I got white gold. But I much prefer like everything else that I wear apart from my wedding band and engagement ring. All of this is rose gold. I just love rose gold. I think it really suits my skin tone. So I decided to get rose gold, and I am obsessed. Whenever I catch my ear and my piercing in the mirror, I'm just falling back in love with it. This is just so good. I really love the way it looks. And actually my mom, who hates piercing, sorry, I just got interrupted by a delivery. So I was talking about my mom. Yeah, my mom, she hates piercing. Like, she truly hates them. When she saw the very first one that I got, she was mad. She was like, I made you these perfect ears and you're plugging holes in them. So she doesn't like piercings. But when she saw that one, she actually didn't notice at first. And she said it wasn't pretty, but it was okay, which for my mom means a lot. So I feel like I made the right choice with the color, the jewelry, the placement. I am so happy with it. So let's talk about the pain, because I have heard so many horror stories of people that really suffered with their Daith piercing that could hear. That was the one thing, and the friend that I was with, told me the same thing. She was so scared, and so was I, to hear the pop in your ear. I actually didn't feel anything and didn't hear anything from my conch piercing, but since this one is more like in your ear, I was just scared of hearing just hearing the skin like being pierced. I didn't hear anything. To be honest, like in Liberty, there's quite a bit of background noise, which isn't disturbing at all, but you really don't focus on your piercing, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I didn't hear any pop sound or anything like that, and it didn't hurt. I felt it, which wasn't the case with the conch piercing. The conch piercing, I swear, I looked at my husband and I was like, is there really something in my ear? Because I didn't feel it. I felt this one, but it didn't hurt, like at all. Like it's just crazy. It's just like if you had an intense pressure in your ear. That's it. That's the only thing that I felt. My friend filmed it for me. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to include the footage or not, just because there has been a lot of blood. This part of your hair has a lot of blood vessels going through it. So my friend was actually horrified. She was like, you're bleeding a lot? Are you sure you're not in pain? I wasn't. Like, literally, the one thing that I didn't like about this piercing, let's say that. My conch piercing, I got it pierced sitting down. For the Daith piercing, you have to lie on your side, which for some reason makes me really stressed out, because I feel like whenever I'm sitting, I'm still in control, but if I lie down, I'm less in control. So that's the one thing that I really didn't like. But I asked the piercing person, she wasn't able to pierce it sitting up. So I did it sitting down. That was the only sitting down. Lying down, that was the one thing that I didn't like. But apart from that, yes, it bled a lot. And at night when we went back to the hotel, I could see a little bit of dried blood, which wasn't the case with the conch. That being said, it didn't hurt. Like, it wasn't painful. I could feel it, but it wasn't painful. So great news. Still getting my piercing wish list longer because of that, because honestly, if those things hurt, I wouldn't keep doing them, but I don't feel like it's not painful. It's not a painful experience at all. So yeah, the one difference is that when she put the needle and then the stick and then the jewelry on my conch piercing, I couldn't really feel it. I could feel the jewelry going through for my Daith piercing, but again, it wasn't painful or anything. And while I was at Maria Tash, I actually changed the back, I believe it's called the labret, the back of the piercing. I just got it a little bit shorter because I felt like it was sticking out a little bit too much. So if you feel like this has changed, that's because it's got a little bit shorter and I think it looks better. But anyway, that's just a side note. So I didn't feel it, it bled a lot. Well, I felt it, but it wasn't painful. It bled a lot. She put the jewelry, she cleaned it, she changed the back of my other piercing. And then I just started the one thing that was tricky. We went back to the hotel and I just purchased the little piercing aftercare. Let me get that, I'm gonna show you. So the difficult part, which isn't difficult, it's just a little bit tricky, is cleaning your piercing and just making sure that it's disinfected. Anyway, you have to care for your piercing twice a day. And I purchased the piercing aftercare fine mist. This is what I use to clean my piercing. The reason I got a small bottle is because I still had this that I got in New York for my first piercing. As you can see, this bottle was huge. That is from Walgreens. It's a saline wound wash. This was a spray as well. So I finished this one like 3 weeks ago. So I did good on buying the small one. But anyway, the thing is that this is a spray. But this part of the ear is so tricky to get to, and you're not supposed to use like cotton buds or cotton pads. You're supposed to use compress. In French we say compresse. I'm not sure about the correct word in English, but I went to Boots and I bought something that I thought was compressed. So different from the things that you can get in Belgium or France, which wasn't what I wanted because that was like plastic and I couldn't get the product to stick on it. Anyway, long story short, I used the spray directly on my ear. I would just tilt my head and clean it up like that. The very next day I went to Soul Cycle, which is a spin class, for the very first time, and I sweated so much. I cleaned my piercing afterwards. I just took a shower, washed my hair and put some water just on my piercing, and it has healed perfectly. Like, it's the craziest thing. Let me get these out of the way. The main difference that I'm seeing between my conch and my Daith piercing is that my conch was fully healed, I would say about 6 months after the piercing, and I would sometimes, you know, just knock it. Like I remember one day, I don't know what I did, but I was getting in the car and I like banged my piercing with the door and I cried because that really hurt. It was really painful. It was still healing. Sometimes I would sleep on it and it would get a little bit sore, and sometimes my glasses would push at the back of the piercing, and that was still really painful during the healing process. That being said, this is completely different. I felt like, I know this is crazy and I know it's not a fact, but I felt like it was healed after 2 weeks. Seriously, like whenever I touch it by accident, I don't feel it. I can sleep on it, I can do so many things. I even put, you're not supposed to do that, so don't do that, but I even tried my like AirPods type of earphones. I don't have like AirPods, but it's the same principle. Those were the only ones that I had, and I tried it and it didn't hurt because you're not supposed to use in-ear headphones with the Daith piercing. I did and it was fine, and now I feel like it's completely healed. I still disinfect it every once in a while. I don't do it twice a day anymore because I don't feel like I need to. The skin around it is completely fine. I asked my husband to check at the back because I cannot see. Even if I pull like 5 different mirrors, it's not bloody. I don't have any crusty bits. I don't have anything. It's so different because the conch, I had like crusty bits for months and weeks after the piercing. I don't have that with this one. This one is healing perfectly. I am so thrilled because if you've watched my previous piercing video, you might know that I am really bad at scarring. Whenever I get like a scratch or a burn or something, I get a scar. And I have like really bad, if you've ever seen my hand, I have this massive scar in my hand, and I have like, what do you call that? Oh my god, it has the same name. You can get that if you have a piercing. Keloid, it's called in French, so kelo, I'll put the British, like the English word down here, but basically keloid, that's what I have on my hand. It's like bumpy scar with like a lot of texture and it's really thick. You can get that with piercing. I don't. I'm so glad, and then knock on wood, I am just so thrilled with this piercing. So it's been 6 weeks. I got it at the beginning of December, well, 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm just so thrilled with it. So yes, I'm gonna definitely want some more piercings. I have a new crazy goal that I was talking about my friends. Actually, Nadia is the friend who I went with in London, and she's the one that introduced me to Maria Tash, and she has beautiful piercing in her ears. She has many, but it's still really dainty and really cute. So I met with her for lunch the other day and I was like, you know what I really want to do, and this is so stupid, but I really want to get a piercing at each of their Maria Tash locations. Luckily or not luckily for me, they opened so many new locations. They have one in Dubai, they have one in Rome, they have one in Ireland, they have a new one in New York, but I feel like at least one in every single country would be good. But anyway, I really want to get some more piercing. I think I want to start going up on my ears because everything is kind of happening middle down from my ears. So I still really want to get that triple forward helix, but I asked 2 times already, and apparently I don't have enough space to do a triple. I could do a double, but my head is so fixed on getting a triple. So I really want to get a triple forward helix, maybe something here, I'm not sure. And on the left side, I really want to get one over here with the little dangly chains that they do. This is so beautiful. Charlie, the one that pierced me in London, actually had that, and I was staring at her ears while she was piercing. Well, she was replacing like the back of my piercing, and it was so beautiful. And I maybe want, you see the earrings that I have on, it's just like those ones that you put like that and it looks like you have 3 earrings. I really like the placement of the last one, like maybe get a super cute little lobe piercing over there. But anyway, I don't have the pricing in front of me, but I know that I was very careful because the jewelry that I got, you can get a very similar one but I believe it's with real diamonds, and it's like this one was about 400 euros, I want to say, and the one with diamonds is about 4,000 euros, if I'm not mistaken. So I was like, I just want to get the more affordable one, not the crazy expensive one. I know that it still is a lot for jewelry, but it's something that I never take off. It's something that I wear obviously every single day, and the quality is just so good that to me it's worth the price. I will put the price and the link to the jewelry down in the description box. In case you're interested, I got pierced by Charlie. She had so many amazing piercings. I just fell in love with her piercing. She even got dermal ones, which were out of this world. But anyway, I guess that's it. If you have any more questions about piercing or Daith piercing or Maria Tash, anything, leave that in the comments down below, because I know that on my previous video you had so many questions. So if I can answer, I will. Otherwise, make sure to check with either a doctor or piercing whenever you are. And I guess that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone.